I don't know how this long this message is going to be, but I think it's honestly also just good for me, whether you listen to this or not, to get out. So basically what I think, okay? Also an interesting theory, I think. So basically, I think the deeper you journey into what it means to be a human being, right, to the essence of ontology, right, the more, to me at least, it becomes less and less about a personality and more about a sort of technology, okay? So I think of myself not so much as a separate entity, a Christian with all these stupid likes and dislikes and whatever proclivities. I think of myself as a technology, and that technology is consciousness itself, right? And to me, consciousness also, that which most resembles the behavior of this technology, consciousness, is that I am, and I think everything is ultimately, that's gravity. Because gravity, the way gravity operates, and that's what I'm feeling at the moment, okay? So basically, gravity, pulls in its surroundings like a valley, It's sort of, I think you know how gravity works. I don't have to explain it. But basically, the more powerful the center of gravity becomes, the denser and more dense-ish, then it begins to pull in more and more its surroundings, right? And I think that this is how consciousness works as well. So consciousness, like Heraclitus said, soul is consciousness, right? And soul has a self-increasing account. It's like exponential growth, if you want to make it mathematical, right? So basically, consciousness begins to mature itself from within, right? And when it gains momentum and becomes greater, the way it increases and develops itself becomes greater and greater, right? The same way with gravity, so it begins to pull more and more in on itself. And in this way, when consciousness sort of wakes up and emerges and turns on and up, right? Then it sort of imprints on the very fabric of cosmic reality, right? So you kind of, when you are with very, very much consciousness, you like mate with the universe itself and imprint on reality. And then reality begins to call out to itself, right? Because it's found not necessarily the only center, but it's found a center through and in which it gets its own, sort of community and teamwork with gravity itself. So it begins to pull and push. It becomes the ebb and flow of its own cosmic reality, right? With the center. And then it grows stronger and stronger. And the more it grows stronger, the more it begins to resemble the mother itself of consciousness, right? So it's like, the best way that I think you can explain it, I'm really high at the moment. But I feel like I'm with a lot of consciousness, right? And then imagine like a mother and a child the mother is pregnant with, right? And so the technology is the child, and it's unaware of its technological ontology, right? It's sort of just, it's been separated from its mother, and that's why every one of us, even adults, are hunting a sort of love that is greater than what we can find, right? And I think that's the mother sea of cosmic consciousness, right? And then I think the little forgotten child who has forgotten who they were are growing like a fetus inside the mother. And then at one point, if the body wakes up, not only in a spiritual, abstract way of understanding, but physically with your cells and blood in your system, right? They're not separate. When that wakes up, you grow up and into and together with the mother consciousness itself, and the growth process is exponential, I think, right? So it begins to self-increase each moment and building on itself, right? And I'm also thinking, so we say all this stuff that, human beings eventually die and we can't fly and we can't do whatever we want. We can't bend reality to our will, you know? We can't manifest, we can't... All this stuff they say human beings can't, right? What I think it is, I think that the human being is somehow the possible house for consciousness itself. I would call it Laura, right? For Laura to become a person, right? And the sort of... Laura is the only one who can find out and into of her own maze, right? It's sort of been programmed into Laura itself that it's only Laura who can find Laura, right? Maybe, perhaps. It's just a theory, right? But my thought is then, when, because I've read about this, you can also look it up, but this junk DNA stuff has really interested me, right? So a lot of, the vast majority of our DNA is discarded as junk DNA because it's unused, right? So we call it junk DNA, but I don't think it's junk DNA. I think it's sort of a treasure. Holy shit, 1 second. My heart is doing some shit right now. Oh, where was I? I was saying it sort of unlocks Laura can unlock consciousness itself, is able to unlock its own hidden treasure, which is this junk DNA, unused explored DNA. And I think when you release this slumbering, that's why I really like Naruto as well, you know, because this idea of, I don't know if you know Naruto, but that's basically, he is fused with what they call a 9-tailed fox, which is a powerful divine beast, is inside of him, right? And the whole show is them, the storyline of the two of them growing together into one being, right? And I think this is what consciousness itself can unlock. Consciousness itself is the key that consciousness hid for itself, that it must find within its own technology, right? It's basically a lot like a PlayStation. My being makes more sense if I understand myself as Laura's PlayStation, right? And Laura is playing on her own PlayStation. And the more you make transparency and art and your life's vocation, then Laura becomes visible, right? Then consciousness itself becomes not only visible to itself, but also malleable, because you begin to be able to, with so much energy, you can co-construct reality, right? Because with so much energy in you, you can manifest, you can write the lines of your own will, right? So to say. But I'll shut up now. And then please let me know what you think about these thoughts. Yeah.